All right, good morning. Welcome in for another Friday Safety Focus of the Week, July 28th. Can't believe it. August 1st, right around the corner. Tuesday. This week's code of conduct. Maintain respectful behavior whenever one is working, driving a company vehicle, or wearing the company logo. We are always representing this company. Anything to add on that code on this morning, Ben?
Yeah, we have big logos on our vehicles and trucks, and sometimes we get blamed for stuff that we didn't do just because we kind of show up. That happened to us this week, just because we got the big logo, we get the phone call, but we were able to at least notify some of the people that we were working with that they had some issues. So it's just an invite. When even if we cut in front of somebody by accident, they usually always call. And Andrew McQuinn was telling me yesterday he gets called 2 or 3 times a week about things, and he oftentimes they're not, he can tell that they're kind of just not really anything. One of them this week was, we think that your company is holding our traffic too long. So anyway, just remember, whenever you got the logo, all it is a phone call away from somebody complaining about us.
Yep.
86.
Yeah, 86 from our last recordable, and then 4 from first aid. We've been kind of dodging some bullets left and right due to some issues that we've had with hand placement and slip and falls. So let's continue to really focus on the task at hand, bake all of our decision making that we're doing with a safety component in it. Again, that all starts with a good JHA to start the day, to have a good game plan, execute that game plan, and again, try to think about our hazards and how we're controlling those to the hierarchy of controls. Don't rely on PPE. We got to really think about what we're doing and eliminate all those hazards, or try to control those hazards best as we can, so we can go home safe and sound each and every day. With that said, Austin's going to talk about some silica. It's been a little over a year since our last little training on silica awareness. It is a health hazard, so it's very important that we follow best practices, and Austin's going to get in those best practices right now.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to go over silica awareness. So the most common ways we are exposed as a company here are through demolition, chipping, hammering in concrete, and cutting, drilling, grinding concrete. So we cut it with saws. We hole cut into structures, things like that. So I guess silica dust is in any earthen, stone material, concrete. It's one of the most greatest well, I'm trying to find the word here. It's in everything. One of the most common minerals in the soil. So the permissible exposure limit is 50 micrograms per cubic meter of air over an 8-hour day. And for most people, they just see that as a number. They're like, I don't know what that means. So the next slide here, the kind of to get a good perspective on it. So in the left-hand corner is 1,000 micrograms of silica, and you can see that there.
They say it's going to get warm.
A design, a dime there, and
it's a trick, man. You rip the truck door off.
I'm getting someone's talking.
You rip the truck door off, and then that way, if you get hot, you can just roll down the window.
Yeah, roll up your window so we can't hear you.
Oh, Elliot is.
Hey, Matt. Can you mute the tool crib?
What's that?
Can you mute the tool crib?
I think it's Todd Nelson.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll mute him.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So what I was saying is 1,000 micrograms of silica here. To the left is next to a dime. They're showing it, and that is a very small amount of silica. So in 20 cubic meters of air, which is to break it down in feet for us Americans, 10 feet by 10 feet by 7 foot room, pretty much. And so that amount of silica in that room, you can be in there for 8 hours a day and no more. A lot of times silica is just one little part of all the dust that gets accumulated. So that room should be very dusty if there is that much silica in there. But it's a very small amount. Come on. So we use this OSHA Table 1 for best practices. Kind of OSHA puts this out saying, this is what you should do and this is the protection measures you should take. So, you can see when you're using a jackhammer or chipping tools, with the use of water delivery and or a vacuum system or something like that, outdoors, you're good to go for about 4 hours with no additional protection. After 4 hours, you need AFP10, which is a dust mask, half face mask, disposable or the reusable ones. So I've got them. They've got them for saw cutting and grinding. There's 8 pages on this that kind of show most aspects of construction. So the APF 10, when you see that, this is kind of shows what they mean. So APF 10 is your disposable respirators, your half face masks, and then above 25 would be your pappers with a respiratory hard hat, things like that, and then 50 a full face mask and so on. If you ever have questions about silica, contact me or Matt. We can come down, we can test it. It takes us a couple hours to get the test, and then you gotta send it off to the lab, so it's not immediate, but it will let us know better in the future what the levels are. And some of the health effects, why we don't want to get exposed to this, is you can get silicosis, which is just basically scar tissue in the lung that builds up over time, lung cancer, COPD, it's going to be swelling your airways, you're going to have trouble breathing, things like that. And then finally, kidney disease. So if you have any questions about what you're doing, you can always refer to that Table 1 or contact me and Matt, and we can come down and test that for you. That's all we'll have.
Yeah, thank Austin, and that's why we built the JHAs the way we did. So if you check that silica box that you have that hazard, that Table 1 shows up. So it's really our best practices is to really those 2 methods, wet cut and vac. If we're not doing those, we must be wearing some type of respiratory protection. Is there any questions out there on silica? If not, take it away, Ken.
You want to introduce your newest safety guy standing there next to you on my screen?
Yeah, we want to do that with the photo, or you want to do it right now?
Oh, go ahead. You can, if you bring
Okay.
up. Okay.
Yeah, so we're pleased to
pop up
announce
there.
Tom Pigeon has joined ECI, and he's helping the safety team. He's going to be out there. He's already out there on the site this morning doing a nice little morning briefing, joining the morning briefing and conducting the morning safety meeting with the crew out in Essex Waterline. I think Randy and Jesse and all their crew members. So we're going to have a lot more presence out there. Tom's going to be leading that. He's going to be, he's a paramedic. by trade, so he's going to really help us on the injury front, helping triage, helping respond. He's also going to learn how to locate and do all the confined space, and we're going to get him up to speed and all the OSHA requirements, and also be a trainer for us. So we're really excited to have Tom join the team and help us to be safe and sound each and every day, because that's our number one priority. You know, safety is our best priority to maintain profitability and have a very successful company and keeping our employees happy.
Yeah, I got couple things to add, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Tommy got a
Tom?
wave just so we know that acknowledging there, or is the screen frozen?
He might be frozen.
Might be
I think it
frozen.
froze.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not great service over there in Essex.
his name is Pigeon, and he's worked here before. He's also a Marine. He was in the reserves. I don't know if he's in there anymore, but he's highly trained as a paramedic. He's going to be dedicated to operations. You're going to see him every day out there, as a safety officer. And any special projects that we have going on that have special needs, I think you're going to see a lot more involvement, having that extra body, that extra person, involved in your projects. And also emergency responses. And when someone gets hurt, we've got more capacity to get out there and get on the scene as soon as possible. So I'm excited to see him back. So welcome back, Tom.
Hey, Tommy.
Everybody.
All right. I'm gonna take over the screen here. Okay, can you see my screen?
We got it.
Okay. So for announcements this week, we have just one new one. That's that we have the new vehicle and equipment fuel cards are in. So please see Sarah to exchange your card to get a new one. The current cards expire September.
Yeah, and there's a pile of them, so we want to get people starting to trade them in now.
Yep. Might be a lot that show up on September 1st.
Yeah,
But don't be that person, right? Okay.
I did mine yesterday.
I left the next two announcements on here. The STD, that's the short-term disability and life insurance. We have some changes, some really good changes here that are explained, and also the healthcare premium holiday is still in effect. So, both good things. New employees. I got to put my photos up here. Download pictures.
Huh.
Let's try that again.
It-
Let me zoom in a bit more.
That might have worked. We see the beginning now again. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, you got it.
There we have Kaylee Patel, assigned to the paving crew, I guess. And are they sisters, Victoria Patel?
They are.
Yes.
Good. Well, good to see a couple new faces here, and then of course Tommy. Tom, sorry. Safety department there. So welcome new people. And I've kept this item on the screen on the email, the free opioid drug help kit located on the side door of the operations building provided by the AGC and the VermontHealthLink.org. That's if you know someone using opioid or pain medications or heroin, just take one of those bags. There's a little help kit in there for testing stuff and Narcan and stuff like that. So important stuff if you're in that situation. I have a link here to the primary care wellness program. So if you're not involved, if you're not a participant, please check that out. And then we're gonna talk about the flood response, restoring the sewer connection with an emergency bypass for the city of Burlington. I don't know if Ben Heath is Ben on. Did he want to present here?
Happy to, Ken. I'll
Perfect.
take over the screen too.
Oh, okay, great. And you may as well finish up with the last project archive photo. It's kind of self-explanatory.
Okay, will do. Can everybody see this?
We got it.
You got it. Perfect.
So I got to bring up my screen. There we go. Yep.
Okay. ECI has been contracted with various clients to perform restoration after the devastating flood that struck Vermont over a week. This past week, we completed the emergency sewer bypass for the city of Burlington. The City of Burlington Department of Public Works Water Resources Division has an ongoing emergency response contract with ECI. During the recent flood events, a 30-inch sanitary sewer pipe which crosses the Winooski River in 2 locations failed. This pipe conveys approximately 10% of the sanitary sewer produced in the city of Burlington to the North End wastewater treatment plant. As a temporary measure, the city hired several pumper and Vector trucks to pump a majority of the sanitary wastewater from an upstream drip chamber, and they are emptying those trucks at the plant in the North End. The city was spending approximately $100,000 a week on the pumper trucks, and portions of the sewer flow continue to enter the Winooski River. The city asked ECI to install a 1,700 linear foot bypass piping system on top of the ground and pump the sewer into an existing gravity manhole that flows to the treatment plant. ECI personnel performed some analysis and determined that this bypass system had a high risk of overwhelming the gravity system and flooding basements that drain to this gravity system. ECI suggested installing the bypass piping all the way to the treatment plant for a total length of approximately 5,300 linear feet to avoid that risk. The city agreed, and ECI conducted a design-build project partnering with the city of Burlington. ECI used 12-inch IPS and DIPS HDPE butt fusion pipe to convey sanitary sewer from an existing grit chamber upstream of the sewer break to the wastewater plant at the end of North Avenue. The pipe was installed on top of the ground, except where the pipe crosses roadways, parking, sidewalks, and driveways. In these locations, the pipe was buried with minimal cover. The mainline pipe, which was again about a mile long, was completely installed within 4 business days, which was less than half of the duration that was provided to the city at the inception of the project. ECI also designed and installed the inlet and outlet controls. The inlet included a rented 4-inch pump and 6-inch pump, which are both connected to the force main, separated by 12-inch gate valves and a 12-inch check valve. The outlet options were limited to existing brick manhole structures which were in disrepair and subject to failure with the introduction of pressurized flow from the temporary force main. ECI designed and installed an energy dissipation structure which included a 2,500-gallon heavy-duty precast concrete tank, a 12-inch ductile iron gravity flow outlet cord at the bottom of the tank, and a 12-inch ductile iron emergency outlet cord at the top of the tank wall. The temporary bypass system is currently operating to eliminate or minimize raw sanitary sewer from entering the Winooski River. The city is working on a plan to either replace the failed pipe that crosses the Winooski River or to develop a new pipe alignment that avoids the river crossings. The temporary bypass system will continue to operate until a permanent solution has been designed and installed. The challenge now is that cold weather will be here soon and the temporary pipe is laying on top of the ground. The city either needs to execute the final piping condition or come up with a way to keep the temporary pipe from freezing if it will continue to operate through the winter months. So I guess I wanted to add to this narrative to just say that this was a real team effort. You know, we were all extremely busy and we really had very limited availability to assist with something of this size and scale. But you know, the whole team, including portions of the drilling group and the civil group, really came together and scrambled to get materials here as fast as possible. You know, we got the call late the week of the flooding, Thursday, Friday, and by Monday, you know, we were on site with equipment already there and material on the ground, and we were putting pipe together on the first business day that was available to us to start work. So the city was really thrilled, and it was a good example of ECI's ability to, you know, to respond to a large scale project like this. So this is an ortho photo showing the pipe alignment. Over here on the right hand side of the screen, you can see this is the beginning of the system where the pumps are located at an existing grit chamber. There's the existing pipe actually crosses the Winooski River generally in this location and in this location, and the plant is located up at the top left hand corner. So the goal was to get the pipe from A to B the fastest and less expensive way possible. So we did everything we could to help the city determine a good pipe alignment that avoided asphalt and concrete, and we went through people's backyards. We dropped the pipe in the green belt. We dropped the pipe behind guardrails everywhere we could, and a vast majority of the piping system is just laying right on top of the ground. And although we had a significant impact out here, we basically took over North Avenue and Northfield Drive and portions of this condominium complex. The neighbors and the folks that live there were extremely nice, and they had an overall willingness to just accept the construction abuse, and they were just happy that we were able to get this pipe in as fast as we did. So this is a photo taken from near the outlet. So this is generally where we started the piping work. We delivered the pipe to this location on Monday morning, and this is where we started fusing pipe together. So this is a great example of what this looks like. If you go drive out there, there's this black pipe just laying on the ground, working its way from the grit chamber to the plant. Here is a photo of us going across a driveway. In some locations, there was multiple driveways in a row that were separated by 30, 40 feet. So we just kept the pipe down and dug a trench and got it in, as you know, with minimal cover, enough to keep the pipe down and keep the driveway moving forward. We like I mentioned, we were scrambling to get all the parts and pieces there as fast as possible. On the left-hand side is a DIPS 12-inch HDPE pipe, and on the right-hand side is an IPS 12-inch HDPE pipe. So those have different outside diameters, which required us to, we couldn't, in other words, we couldn't get all the same pipe on site. We got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We had parts and pieces scattered everywhere, and we were able to find enough adapters to make it all happen on a quick schedule. Here's an example of a HDPE bend. We had all the parts and pieces and all the fittings that we needed to make this happen, which was great. Here's a photo of us, completely taking over Northview Drive. We've got one lane road ahead. I think that was maybe a false sense of what was happening out there, but there's really very limited traffic on this road. This is a dead end. There's a gate right behind where this photo was taken, but here we are putting pipe together, stringing it out in the road, and eventually burying it through this section. This is a photo of our outlet structure. So the manhole that you see in the front of the picture is a small brick structure, which was in relative disrepair. It's very old. And then to the left of this concrete structure is the actual inlet for the plant, which was again made of brick and wasn't in that great a shape. So we decided, instead of blasting one of these structures with pressurized flow, that we would discharge to a heavy duty tank. And I learned a valuable lesson on this one. Nearly all septic tanks are constructed so that they have to be buried before they can be filled with fluid. So it wasn't as easy as we thought it was going to be to get a tank here. We actually had to get a thick-walled, heavy-duty tank. And fortunately, Camp Precast had one out in their yard that they didn't even know about. And so having a good partner like Camp to have, one of the leading folks from that company go for a walk and find us what we needed was a reminder that having good business relationships can pay off at times like this. So we discharged at the top of this structure. We outlet to the left down at the bottom, and then the second pipe you see coming out is our emergency overflow, which discharges back to this manhole. We don't expect that will ever see any fluid, but we wanted to have some security that we weren't going to inundate this precast tank and have a spill. So another image of that outlet.
Did you guys core it, or did you have it cored at camp?
We cored it on the spot.
Yeah, cool.
We had to plug, this was a setup for a gravity septic system. So we had to plug all of the existing booted holes that were in the tank and core our own holes and put our own boots in and make all the connections.
There they are on the ground.
Yeah, there they are.
Oh yeah.
And actually, another interesting piece of this is that this piece of ductile iron that outlets actually goes all the way back to the back of the tank. We tried to prevent short circuiting since the inlet was coming in right directly above the outlet.
Yeah.
And just for safekeepings, we ended up fastening the outlet pipe down just to keep it from bouncing around. So in this photo here is the plug for what used to be, or what is the inlet from the siphon that goes across the Winooski River. So this is the normal inlet or outlet for the pipe that we have bypassed.
Wow.
So that gate didn't work anymore?
No, that gate has seen better days.
I'd say so.
Wow.
Here is a photo of our team putting together the inlet controls. So we wanted to isolate each of the pumps. So we ended up using 2 pumps. We wanted an extra pump to be plumbed in so that we could perform maintenance on one of the pumps and be able to continue pumping. There's significant flow that comes into this grit chamber, so we wanted to have some redundancy there, and we put a check valve in to prevent backflow, because this system goes up a hill about 60-70 feet and then comes back down, so it's got a nice bell curve to it, and we wanted to prevent. We didn't want to just count on the check valves and the pumps to hold that back. And actually, we didn't have the parts and pieces necessary to do this at the time, but we have a wet tap that we're doing just upstream of that check valve so that we can empty the whole system out when we're ready to dismantle it.
Oh.
Here's the finished product of the inlet with the 2 rain for rent pumps. We have a 6-inch pump and a 4-inch pump, gate valves on each side, and the amount of effort it took to not only gather but to figure out all these different fittings to get everything to match up with very limited availability and a lack of time was a real challenge, but the team put it all together and made it all happen. Here is a photo of representatives from the city of Burlington, mostly wastewater plant operators and pump station operators who were there when the Rain for Rent representative did the pump commissioning to show everybody how to operate the float and the alarms and the telemetry. And from our photo archives, we have Alan Pigeon and Mike Drescher performing a site visit to the Winooski River sewer crossing failure at the Heinenberg Bridge and Winooski River in the spring of 2005. So this photo here, this grit chamber that you see, is the grit chamber that we are pumping out of now.
Wow.
And
Pretty
I don't
cool
know.
that I had a picture like that, huh?
Yeah, it is. So Ken,
Yep.
I guess I'll unshare and take it from here.
Okay, yep, I'm good. Thank you very much, Ben. Great job. Great job for everybody's hard participation. And I think we showed up as heroes on this job. So that's great. And there was a lot of sewer going into the river and into the lake. So I'm glad that we were able to make a fix on that. Yeah, I'll turn it back over to you, Matt. Have a safe day out there, everybody.
Yeah, thanks,
Mind if I
Ken.
jump on?
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
So just something to bring up. One of the truck drivers came to me yesterday evening. Was just saying that a lot of the workers have been walking through their blind spots. If you're not aware of where the blind spots are on the big trucks, just I'm sure if you asked any of the drivers, they'd be more than happy to show you. And if you're gonna walk through those, just make sure that you make eye contact with them. They know that you're walking through there before you do it.
Yep. It's all about eye contact and awareness on everybody's
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep, thanks, Tom. If you're watching a group setting, please send me a text message or email so we can capture attendance. We had about 50 so again, that's another reason why Tom's out and about this morning, is to try to get our attendance up. We should be closer to 100% attendance on these Friday safety meetings. So if you missed it, we'll be pushing out the recording so individuals can watch it later. But again, let's try to get better attendance for these Friday safety meetings.
Okay.
Let's
All
stay
right,
safe
guys.
today. Beat the heat. It's going to get hot this afternoon, so drink a lot of the fluid. And we will be having some of those thirst quencher additives to waters will be available in the tool crib early next week. I know a lot of people have been asking about those, so we're going to supply those for the crews for the hot days.
Okay.
And I had one thing. So Kylie, we misspelled your name. It's Kylie Patel, not Kaylee. So Kylie,
Oh,
Kylie
is that
Patel.
my fault? I'm sorry if it was.
Yeah. Anyway, just wanted to
Okay.
mention that.
I
So,
apologize.
all right, everybody.
At least I
Have-
kind of pronounced it right, didn't
You
I?
did.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Have a great
All
day.
right.
Have a safe day.
Have a
Thanks,
good one.
everybody.
Okay.
Thanks.
Later.